Awesome. Well, thanks, Bruce. Let me just share my screen here with everyone real quick. Okay, let's get right into it. So today's presentation is called The Thousands of Revenue Dollars That Are Hidden in Your Business Right Now. These are 5 areas that you're likely ignoring, underperforming in, and literally leaving money on the table. Who am I? So you know who you're listening to today. My name is Bradley Ball. I'm a business improvement and growth strategist. I've built and sold 3 small businesses myself. I've been in the marketing end of things for 25 years, 10 years in sales, and sort of one of my points of differentiation is I was the advertising department lead for a high-end culture magazine at the age of 30. So I was right into the business on the marketing side very, very early in my career. So there's money hidden in your business right now, and you probably just aren't even aware of it. There are literally thousands of dollars hidden there. And why can I say that with confidence? Well, let me talk a little bit about that. Let's imagine that a business generates about 1,000 leads per year, right? These are contacts, not necessarily prospects yet. These are just people who become aware of your business, whether that's in conversations, whether that's through your website, whether that's through social media, whether that's through networking, all of those types of things. The average business might, add 1,000 leads to their system, whether that's in a CRM or some other means. And let's just say that they convert 25% of those people into paying customers. So call those, these people become prospects, then they end up buying, and 25% of that 1,000 buy. Now, if those customers each bought from that same business 10 times per year, and if the average sale value for this business is only $100, their profit margin is 25%. Their total annual revenue is $250,000, meaning that their annual profit would be $62,500. This is just, we're taking a hypothetical business. If their average widget is $100, 1,000 leads in, 25% of them turn into customers 10 times a year. That's what the numbers would shake out to be. Now, let's just say that this business could increase each of these areas by just 10%, right? This is where this is all kind of coming together. If that same business were to generate 1,100 leads per year, right? If they're already generating 1,000, what's an extra 100? And this is over a year period. So on average, we're talking about less than 10 a month, right? Let's just say that they increase their conversion rate from 25% to now 27.5%. That's just a 10% increase over what they were already currently doing. Now, let's just say that they could increase the number of times that those same customers bought to 11 times per year. Again, 10%, we're just adding one more purchase per year. If the average sale value gets increased by only $10 or 10% of what the previous average sale value was, and if their profit margin went from 25% to 27.5%, the new total annual revenue jumps from $250,000 to $365,420, right? Which is nothing to sneeze at. But look at the profit line as well. Their new annual profit is over $100,000. So we're talking about a business whose profit the previous year was $62,500. It's not quite double, but that's a pretty significant jump on the profit line. Okay, now that's just by increasing each of these areas by 10%. But what if, pie in the sky, what if the same business could increase each of those areas by 50%? Might sound crazy initially, but we're talking about, really sort of some 5 key areas that have multiple elements within them. If they could increase by 50%, that same business increased the number of leads to 1,500 per year. If they converted now 37.5% of those people into paying customers, so they got better at converting them into customers, those customers bought 15 times a year instead of 10, the average sale value went to $150, and their profit margin increased to 37.5. The same business that was making $250,000 in gross annual revenue previously is now a 1.25 or $1.264 million business. Their new annual profit goes from $62,500 to $474,000 per year. That's why I can say that there's literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in your business. I mean, yes, it's not going to happen for every single business that they're going to be able to increase each of these areas by 50%. But even if we went back to the 10%, even if they increased by only 5%, we're still talking about significant jumps. And the reality is that most business owners just don't know what they don't know. They don't know that making small incremental changes in a few different areas can add up to really huge wins in the business. Now, I can't talk about everything today, but I am going to talk about 5 sort of key areas of just about every business that they're likely ignoring or underperforming in. There are easily more than 40 different areas that you could focus on at various points in the life of the business. But for today, I'm just going to talk about these 5. So let's talk about leads. Is your website currently capturing 80 to 100 leads per month? Most websites, I gotta be honest, are completely ineffective. They do not do a good job about capturing leads. What they really are, for the most part, is a digital brochure. And people sort of stake their claim. They put out their shingle and they say, yeah, we got a website, go check it out. What they're not realizing is that by doing that, by saying, here's every single detail about our company, is that when a prospect goes to the website and goes, yep, all the information is here. I don't need to pick up the phone. I don't need to talk to anybody. Don't need to ask any questions. If I'm interested, I'll come back. The reality is that they don't come back. So most websites don't even have a mechanism to be able to capture these people as leads. Now, the way that I define leads, they're not actually a lead until you know who they are, and some way to contact them. So, it could be as simple as even just a first name and an email address. But until you have those very basic items of who your leads are, they aren't a lead yet, right? The other thing too is that most websites are kind of a catch-all. Is your website speaking to a specific audience, right? And I know that business owners struggle about finding a niche or sort of having a target market. This is why things like landing pages can be extremely effective as an alternative to a typical website. Yes, I know, people will argue you got to have a general website. I totally get it. But you don't necessarily have to drive people there. If you meet a specific type of prospect, or you are doing a specific campaign, you want to drive them to a specific place that's relevant to them, right? If you have 10 different verticals and you're sending all 10 of them to the same website, it's going to be effective for only a portion of those people, right? The other thing too is, does your website compel a viewer to stay? I'm going to show you some examples of websites in just a moment that just make me shake my head, because they're not really doing anything. They don't compel me to even stick around, and I'm not even their target market. I can't even imagine what people who should be paying more attention, who should be giving some sort of contact to the people that they're landing on their website for. There's just no reason for it. There's no compelling reason for these people to stay. The other thing is, on your website, are you making a compelling offer, and do you have a call to action?
On a scale of 1 to 5, would you give yourself a 5 on achieving what you want in life? If your answer is anything less than a 5, right now, I have something awesome for you. Achieving your goals and living your life at a 5 isn't easy. Most people aren't prepared to focus, stay disciplined, and do the everyday work that is necessary to achieve amazing results. But since you're watching this, then I'm guessing that you're not one of those people. And this is an opportunity that will change your life. Give to Get is a global program that brings together world-class coaching and combines it with empowering masterminds and networking opportunities. We provide 5-star guidance for the price of a cup of coffee a day. To find out more, click on the link in the description of this coaching session.
Right? You can't capture someone's contact information and truly call them a lead unless you have some way for them to opt in, some way for them to say, yes, I'd like to receive more information. And what they're really truly saying when they do that is they're saying, yes, I'm ready to take a step through the buyer's journey. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to buy from you right away, but it does mean that, yes, what you have to offer may interest me, or I need more information to be able to make a buying decision, right? A lot of websites almost treat prospects the same way that a lot of salespeople do. Are you interested? Prospect says, nope. Okay, great. And then they move on to the next. They completely miss an opportunity to create a relationship with somebody who, when they are ready to buy, are going to go buy from someone else. So let me show you some examples of actual websites that I've gone out on the web, and I've just looked for random websites. This is a company that offers IT solutions. If it didn't say it in their business name, I might not even know exactly what they're offering, right? What if your IT actually worked? Okay, schedule a free network assessment. If I'm a business owner and I have IT challenges, but I'm not necessarily ready to enter into an engagement with this company, if the, truly the only offer that's on this page is schedule a free network assessment, what if my network isn't my problem? What if I don't know that it's my network? What if it's just that I'm having trouble receiving email? It might be a network problem, but I have no idea, right? What this website really does is it's trying to get people to engage in a conversation probably way too early in the buyer's journey. It's kind of like if you've ever heard of the dating principle, where you wouldn't go on a first date with somebody and ask them when the wedding's coming, right? That's not the kind of conversation that you want to be having on the first date. Same thing goes for a website. You want people to come to your website and get to know you a little bit before they decide to engage with you. And one of the best ways to do that is to say, hey, I've got something that might be of value to you. If you're interested, give me your first name and email address so I can send it to you. And that's it. You enter into that conversation, you get them into the buyer's journey. Just quick, I see there's something in the chat, but I can't actually see the chat. Are you monitoring that for me, Bruce? Was there a question there?
More just a comment. Yes, would be useful to offer a download of 5 tips to see if you needed IT help, was the
Great.
comment.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, that's from Martina. That's from Martina.
Awesome. Thanks, Martina. I appreciate that. And that's exactly the kind of thing I'm getting at. And I mean, what it looks like could be any number of things. But the real key is that until you have a mechanism to actually do that on your website, you're going to have, well, let's just say, most of the conversations I have with business owners, when I ask them, how many leads does your website produce? They look at me with a really blank stare. Is my website supposed to produce leads? Well, yes, of course it is. But they don't necessarily know that. Or they don't know the numbers, if there are any numbers, or they don't know how to change their website to be able to do that. Here's another website. This just absolutely baffles me. This is a media company. This is somebody who's offering to help other people market their business. And I look at this website, anything of interest is what we call below the fold. It's at the bottom of the page. It's random people. This really doesn't tell me a whole lot of anything about this business. Their logo is really tiny. They don't even really have a call to action other than this is our address, here's our office number. This isn't even a soft ask. This is really no ask at all. It's like, okay, great, you're a media company. There's nothing of value here to a potential prospect. And I could be in the business of media. I absolutely would navigate away from this page if this is what I was looking for, or sorry, if this is what I found and I was looking for that. Here's another website. And hey, I get it. In the travel business, beautiful pictures tend to get people interested, but they're not really saying anything. Start your trip today. If I just started looking for a vacation and somebody's telling me to start my trip today, I haven't even figured out where I want to go. I haven't figured out if you're the right travel agency for me. I haven't figured, there's really nothing of value here to really compel me to stay on the website. It's like I say, it's just completely ineffective. It's a beautiful picture, sure. But what most people are going to do when presented with this is go, find me somebody who's speaking my language, right? If I went to another page that said, wouldn't you love to explore beautiful Bali? And it's got a picture of Bali. Oh yeah, well, hey, if that's what Bali looks like, I like what that looks like. Tell me more. That's what your prospects are looking for. So what your website really needs to be effective at capturing leads is a headline that addresses a problem that the viewer has. If you don't present them with, hey, I know that you might have a problem, maybe you're aware of a problem, maybe you're not even aware that you might have this problem. If you don't do anything like that, you're not going to engage a prospect to even continue reading beyond that point. After the headline, you need to have a subhead that suggests that you might have a solution. So just off the top of my head, are you sick of taking vacations to Mexico where it's been boring in the past? That's not a very good headline, but the idea behind it is you're going to attract those people who are like, I'm sick of going to Mexico. I want to go somewhere different. Well, okay, that's the perfect type of thing that's going to make me go, okay, tell me more. And if the subhead said something like, we can show you a Mexico priced vacation somewhere else with way more to offer, I'm definitely interested at that point. If I'm the type of traveler that's looking for something different, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And if there was, even multiple landing pages and one of them was all about travelers who are bored of Mexico, that's the perfect place to send people to. Beyond that, you want to provide concise supporting information to back up your claim or solution. 90% of the people we send to Bali absolutely love it. They feel safer, they find the food is better, they find experiences that they've never found anywhere else. Just a few key points to really whet the appetite of the prospect. And then you have to have a compelling offer or call to action. Download your free Bali travel guide would be a perfect example of the kind of thing that you would add at the bottom of that page, right? Or right on the first page, so that way somebody can go, yeah, I'm interested, and it's free. Okay, for sure. Why wouldn't I put my email and my first name in there? Now, this is what we consider a low or no risk offer. The reason is that the only risk to me to giving somebody my first name and email address is I may have to unsubscribe from a newsletter that I no longer want to get at some point down the road. Big deal, right? And we all have that throwaway email address that we use for those types of things. So when you can do that, as opposed to asking somebody to get on a phone call, and here's a little tip for you, by the way, psychology today says that when we present somebody with, get on a call with me, the internal thought process for most prospects is, if I get on a phone call, somebody's going to try to sell me something. Nope, I'm not picking up the phone. I mean, we know, especially now in today's generation, a lot of these people, they don't even want to have a phone conversation. I've got a phone so I can send text messages. What's this phoning thing, right? So if we are able to communicate with them at a pace that they're comfortable with, they're much more likely to take us up on that offer. If your offer is get on the phone, they're feeling like, I'm not ready for that yet. They're going to go somewhere else where the offer is much more comfortable for them to proceed with. So when it comes to a website and increasing by that, maybe 5, 10, or even 50%, if you're currently not getting any leads on your website, if you're not getting 80 to 100 leads on your website, even if you increase that by 10 or 20 or even 30 new leads every single month, that's a huge jump. I mean, starting from zero, it's not even a number that we can really put into perspective. But even let's just say that you're getting 5 leads per month. If you increase that by 50%, that's only 2 to 3 more leads. So what you're currently getting, increase that by 50%. That's what I'm getting at. Okay. Now, what if you set a goal to ensure that your website was capturing those 80 to 100 leads per month? You can actually write this out. If you've got some, quick numbers, if you get a pen and paper, what's your current average sale value? Want to write that down. If it's $100, if it's $200, if it's $500, I get the business owners oftentimes don't know off the top of their head, but just consider the average sale that you like, that is a good profitable sale for you. What's the dollar value of that? Now, what if it led to even just 1 to 2 more sales per month? So if your average sale is $500 and you sold 1 more of those every single month, what is that impact on your business? Now multiply that by 12 months. What impact would that have on your revenue and profits on an annual basis? When you start to break it down like this and you realize, like I said before, those small incremental changes can have a huge impact on a business. If you're only currently selling about 1 of whatever you sell per month, and you sell 1 more of those things, good news, you just doubled your business, right? In most cases, that's not what we're talking about here, but by increasing by, let's say you're selling 10 of your packages or your programs or whatever it is you sell. If you sell an extra 2, you've just increased your business by 20%. So now, conversions. Are you following up? The vast majority of business owners never follow up with the people who don't buy on the initial contact. It's like I was mentioning before. Most salespeople, they make 1 point of contact. You interested? Prospect says, nope, not interested. Okay, great. Next. And they never go back to follow up with those initial prospects, right? These are people that and in some cases, they've actually even paid on the customer acquisition side to find these people, and they give up because the person says no on the very first point of contact. Less than 1% of prospects are going to buy on the very first touch. Let me repeat that, because that's a really important fact. Less than 1% of the people that you talk to are going to buy from you the very first time you talk to them. And yet, most businesses are completely ignoring all of those people. Most sales happen on the 7th to 12th touch point. And technology has actually made it possible for us to automate follow-up in a way that still feels authentic and genuine without having to spend endless hours of time or have a gigantic sales team, right? If you've increased leads and your conversion rate by doing the follow-up, your results compound, right? So what if all you did was create a follow-up email sequence to educate those leads? So instead of saying, thanks, Mr. Prospect, I know you're not interested, no problem, and you completely ignore them. What if instead you had a follow-up drip campaign or email sequence where all you did is once a month or once every 2 to 3 weeks, you sent out an email that said, hey, by the way, I know you weren't interested before, just wanted to let you know that this is what the industry is saying, or I found a really great article that might be relevant for your industry, or hey, have you heard about this charity event? And all you're really doing is you're staying top of mind, right? The reason why those sales often happen on the 7th to 12th touch point is because somebody is staying top of mind. And actually, I should point out just one thing that I forgot to mention is that 7th to 12th touch point doesn't necessarily mean from the same person or even the same company. I've seen it happen where one salesperson meets somebody, the prospect says no, they say, okay, great, they move on to the next person. The second touch point actually happens with another salesperson from a different company, and they get to pick up the ball because they've already gained a little bit of education about should they be interested in this thing. And then now the other salesperson kind of moves the ball from second to maybe third or fourth. And then they go, well, this person's not going to buy, and they give up. The third salesperson comes along and says, hey, have you heard about adding this to your business or to your life? And they're like, yeah, I've considered it a couple times and I talked to a few people about it. Have you got one of those things? I think I'm ready to buy. And that third salesperson is the one who doesn't have to do any of the work. The customer's already been sold. So back to what I was saying, out of 100 leads, only 1 to 2 bought without having a follow-up process. Remember I said, less than 1% of prospects will buy. If we're being generous, let's just say that 1 to 2 out of every 100 bought. With the follow-up, let's say that 1 to 2 more bought at some point during that follow-up process. So let's say it's over a 12-month period. In the first month, you get 1 to 2 more people other than the ones that bought on that first point of contact. 2 months later, 1 to 2 more from the original 100, right? So remember, this is the 100 in the first month. Now you also have 100 from the second month, because remember, you're getting 100 leads per month. So now you're adding 1 to 2 from that previous month. And then in the third month, you now have 1 to 2 from the first 100, 1 to 2 from the second 100, 1 to 2 from the third month. Do you see what I'm getting at here? By the end of a year, you're adding over 100 new customers per month just from doing the follow-up. That's how impactful this is. And yet most businesses completely ignore it. It's money left on the table and given up to someone else. Another thing is reactivation. It is never too late to follow up. The average business has probably a list of 200 to 300 contacts that didn't buy from that initial contact. And I hear it all the time. They're like, well, it's been a couple years. Yeah. And the person that you talk to probably isn't with the company anymore, or they've changed roles. Their business has either grown or it shrunk. Things have changed. It's a perfect opportunity to reach out and say, hey, listen, really sorry that we kind of lost track with you. Curious, how are things going? They were interested in what you have to offer at one point. Could they be interested in again? Absolutely. Is it worth investing in that? Absolutely. You're skipping over that initial cold contact with somebody who already knows who you are, already knows what you offer. You've probably already done a presentation with them, and maybe even you've improved what you initially offered. It's a great opportunity to tell them about it. And even if they don't buy, they could be a source of referrals because you've already shown them exactly what you offer. They can also provide feedback, reviews, testimonials, even if they've never bought from you. We had a really good look at what Bruce had to offer. Thought it was great. It just wasn't a fit for our company at the time. But anyone who's in this situation, this would be a great fit for them. That's a great testimonial to be able to have, or on a Google review, or whatever that happens to be. Again, most businesses completely ignore this opportunity. You're adding to the list of potential reactivations every month, and now you're more aware that those people could be a source of business, whether it's them directly or through the referrals or feedback, reviews, etc. If these reactivations produce just one more sale each month, what would the impact on your business over an annual basis be, right? Bundling is another way that businesses completely miss an opportunity. Want to practically eliminate competing on price? I hate the idea of competing on price, and my clients will tell you that I harp on it all the time. Why are you discounting? What is the purpose of discounting? Well, the guy down the street is charging that much. Yep. Is your product better than the guy down the street? Yep. Then why are we having this conversation? Bundling is simply grouping together certain products or services to create packages. It creates an apples to orange comparison for your customers and removes price from the equation, right? I'm actually going to I'm going to show you a real world example of how this makes a huge difference. Customers shop value, not price. And this is a misconception that needs to be broken. If you're still stuck on the idea that customers only buy from you because you're the lowest price, you are sadly mistaken, right? I can't remember who said it. I feel I want to say it was like Sam Walton, the guy that founded Walmart, where he basically said, if you can't be the lowest price, you better be the highest. It could have been someone else analyzing Walmart, but the idea really truly is that if you want to compete with the low price guys, you better have the volume to be able to back it up, right? So most businesses struggle to convey their value proposition, so price becomes the only difference to the consumers, and that's really where they struggle. But when you have this bundling, when you have this attractive package for people to be able to compare with someone else's offering, it makes a way more compelling reason for them to buy from you versus the competitor. And 9 times out of 10, it's even at either the original price or higher than what the competitors are offering. Prospects will actually pay twice the price if they feel that they're receiving 4 times the value. And that's a really important concept. When somebody realizes like, wow, this is an insane deal. I am getting so much for what I'm paying, even though it's way more than what they could get the lower priced alternative for, they will absolutely do it. Yes, you're going to have a few people who are going to be so focused on price. They don't care about the bundle. They don't care about the bonuses. They don't care about who you are. They just want to get the absolute lowest price. Now, if they're anything like you or I, chances are they've bought something at some point in their life and it was the lowest price alternative they could find, and they probably regretted it later. So a much more compelling offer that actually generates more profit. Here's 2 companies that offered sunrooms, okay? Each of them charged, let's say, 10 grand for their sunrooms. Company on the left said, we'll give you $2,000 off your 4-season sunroom with this card. So they basically made a coupon or a discount offer. So that means that for every sunroom that they would normally charge $10,000 for, they are willing to take $8,000 for. Now, I don't know what their gross and their gross profit margin and their net profit margin is on this, but I got to say, when you discount by 20%, that's a pretty big hit to be able to take. The business on the right says that you're still going to pay 10 grand for our sunroom, so $2,000 more than the competitor, but we're going to throw in a $6,200 bonus package. It's our best offer ever. Get 2 upgrade bonuses that most people have to pay extra for, including an upgrade to our premium glass that makes your sunroom a true 4-season room, and get a free heat cool unit to keep your sunroom comfortable all year round. So if you're a consumer, which one is the higher perceived value? I'm going to have to pay more for the one on the right, but I don't have to furnish this thing, right? And if the average customer is saying, well, yeah, now I've got this whole new room to furnish, I never even thought about, I got to put stuff in there. Oh, and by the way, the heat and cool unit, is that something I'm going to have to add out of my own pocket after I've received the discount from the other guys? You see how this is such a different conversation than the one guy's charging regular price, the other one's charging, $2,000 off. Again, somebody who says, I got tons of furniture, I don't need the bonuses, I'll take the deal. Okay, fine. But historically, what you'll find is that the average consumer is loving the extra bonus. There's another analogy that comes from the restaurant industry where one restaurant says that if you use this coupon, you can get 10% off your bill. And then the other company says, well, our meals are exactly the same price, but we'll throw in a free bottle of wine and 2 desserts for that regular price. Which one are you going to choose? We get a free bottle of wine and 2 desserts as well. I don't have to dig into my pocket to pay for more on my meal. Whereas the other company is willing to take a hit on their profit margin just to get you through the door. And they might not even get the sale on the wine or the dessert. And that's really where the key is there. Let me see if I can open up the chat really quick. Yes, thanks, Martina. That's awesome. That's right. They focused on being more compelling and not just the offer. Love it. Love it. So Unfortunately, businesses offer discount, and that often destroys their margins. And what's even crazier to me is that oftentimes businesses who go directly to a discount don't even know what their numbers are. I've seen it where a business is actually discounting more than what their profit margin is. They're actually losing money for every offer that they put out there. There was a coupon company out. I don't think they're even around anymore, or if they are, they definitely don't have the same thunder that they did at one time. But Groupon actually put some businesses out of business because they didn't explain to them, hey, listen, it's great that you've got this offer to be able to, give to people, but if either A, you can't fulfill all of these discounts, or B, if you're losing money on every single sale, then you're going to be out of business. And a lot of businesses ended up in that really terrible state. So in some businesses, discounting the price by a mere 10%, now they have to sell 50% more just to break even based on what their margins are. So my advice, stop discounting, add value instead. Find ways to bundle. And even better is you don't even have to offer all of the products and services that go into your bundle. Talk to other people who offer other things that could add value to what you're already offering. Maybe you can get a wholesale price on something that you can include. In fact, going back to the sunroom company, the company that was building the sunrooms, they don't do the heat cool unit, they don't make the furniture, they don't make any of those things. They worked out a deal with another company and said, hey, if you sell us this stuff, we'll provide it as a bonus package. You get the sale on all of these add-ons, we get the sale on the sunroom, and everybody wins. So you can bundle without even having to offer all of the things that are part of that bundle. So pricing. This is a big point of interest for me, and that is, why haven't you increased your prices? Most small businesses never increase their prices, and it's an absolute shame. They are scared that any price increase, no matter how small, will lead to a mass exodus of all their customers. If you sell a widget, let's say for $100, so back to our original example, and you increase your prices by 10%, will that really lead to a loss of customers? Maybe, but who are you losing? The people that are that sensitive over a 10% increase on a widget, but now you're making an extra $10 and that's all profit. That's not just a 10% increase, that's a 33.3% increase in profit. Because if your profit margin before was I think in this example it was $75, so their profit was $25. By adding an extra $10, they're adding a 33% increase in their profit margin. For you to make $1,000 profit, you need to sell 33.3 widgets in this example. By increasing 10%, you now only need to sell 25 widgets to make the exact same profit. To break even, you'd have to lose 25% of your customers over a puny 10% increase. How likely is that to happen? It's very unlikely that you'll lose those kinds of customers. Now, that being said, here's my caveat. You want to test any price increase. If your average sale value is 60 grand and you increase it by 10%, okay, maybe you might have a few people saying, well, the other guy is going to give it to me for $3,000 less. Okay, that's a very different comparison. But just know that, if your average sale is in that $100 to $500 mark, then a 10% increase is not going to send your good customers running for the hills. So yeah, I'm not suggesting that you rush out and randomly increase your prices by 10%. I always say test and increase and then measure it to see what the impact is. So if you decide anybody who's already a current customer is going to keep paying this price for the next 3 to 6 months, any new customers, this is what you're going to offer to them as price. And I guarantee you, they're going to look at it and go, okay, well, that's the price, right? And when you tell customers, even in advance, you say, hey, listen, cost of stuff has gone up. I mean, look at the past year. We've seen that the cost of goods and services has gone up. Somebody says to you, hey, we have to increase prices. It's not a big surprise anymore, right? In my experience, the impact is that the dud clients, the ones you really don't like working with anyway, go away. The great customers stick around because they see the value in what you're offering to them. So going back through the 5 things that I've gone through today, let's work out what the total impact of this increase could be in each of these areas. So if you could increase your leads by 1 to 2 new customers, if you could increase your leads and it added 1 to 2 new customers per month. And if you could increase your conversions so that it added 1 to 2 new customers per month, if you could reactivate those prospects that didn't buy when you initially met with them, you could add 1 to 2 new customers per month, and you could bundle products and services and add 1 to 2 new customers per month. On top of that, by increasing pricing by 10%, you get more money for the same amount of work, the same amount of effort. You increase your average sale by 10% and then multiply that by 4 to 8, then multiply that by 12 months. You're going to have a number that will probably make your jaw drop, right? I mean, if you thought about what your average sale was, add 2, 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, multiply that by 12, and you're going to have a number that is going to really show you what you're leaving on the table. And that's why I say that the average business has got thousands of dollars that they're leaving on the table. So based on this, I would be willing to, if anyone is interested in watching this today on the recording or live, I want to give you a roadmap to actually get that extra money. So I can actually show you the full potential for your business and hand you a roadmap. It's something I call the level 1 profit acceleration assessment. It takes an hour to go through. It feels like an interview. It's specific to your business. And then I'll actually create a report for you, including a roadmap. And we typically discover over $100,000 in revenue potential in just about any business. Established businesses, startups, maybe not so much. But if you're an established business, this might be something that you're interested in going through. So if you want to reach out to me through the Give to Get portal, then absolutely be more than happy to chat with you. And that's pretty much what I have for you today. I actually think I went through it a little quicker than I thought I would. So, but any questions? Martina, you've been super patient, and I love the comments in the chat.
Hi there. Oh, let's see. Hi. Yeah. Thanks for that, Bradley. I made some notes and took a few screen grabs of your summary. So it's a good reminder of, like we were saying, where we're leaving money on the table, and it's these little things. By just being a bit smarter on how we use the website to really capture people's email address so that we can keep sending them information and tips or downloads or something useful that at some point they'll actually buy a service or product from us. It's these small, like you said, the incremental changes and the incremental earnings we can have. And one thing is funny that you just mentioned that, and I know from other courses in the past or from comments that it's often easier as well to sell to our existing customers rather than finding new customers, because they already know us, they like us and trust us and all that stuff. So if we keep offering them something new and just letting them know, and I'm just thinking this because I did this recently, I've added some coaching and training programs, and I just messaged my current clients and my past clients that I may not have haven't spoken to for maybe several years, but just to sort of say, hey, just wanted to let you know this is something new I'm now offering. And several of them already emailed back and said, oh, thanks for letting me know. I have someone in mind who could use this, or, oh, this sounds interesting. Let's talk about this some more next week. So, and I think we forget that we have these clients sitting right in front of us who already like working with us, whether it is now or was in the past. And if we don't tell them and share this information on something new we're offering, it's sort of, they're such an easy sell because we're already comfortable with them. And yet we so often just forget to even let them know that we've got something new.
Yeah, it's very true. It's been said that so many businesses focus solely on new client acquisition and completely miss the gold mine that they're sitting on, which is past customers.
Right.
And like you say, you've already done a lot of the legwork there. And in a lot of cases, you've already paid to have these people on your list. If you completely ignore them, you're even worse, you're not just even missing out on the money of their new sales. You've paid money that now is sitting dormant. You might as well take advantage of it. Right. It's actually, there was something else that came to mind as you were saying that too. it's so often too, because people have this frame of mind. It's like, well, they're going to think it's weird that I reached out to them after a certain period of time. They're going to find that a good percentage of them, the person who was in the role that they used to talk to is gone. Even if that person was super resistant to working with you, there might be somebody new in that role that says, oh my goodness, I'm glad that you called, because my last supplier for whatever it is you sell was a turkey and I don't want to work with them anymore. I need to change providers. I'm so glad that you got in touch with me. And I mean, those are the kinds of people that you want in your client database, right? So it's very, very true. Oh, I know what I was going to say too. I didn't even make mention of it, but if you look at what the 5 examples I gave you, not a single one of them asks you to dig into your pockets and spend a bunch of money on marketing or advertising. These are all things that you might have to spend a little bit of time. You might have to put a little bit of work into it, but none of them require you to have a massive budget to implement any single one of them. Right? You might have to make a few tweaks to your website, or maybe you got to set up a landing page. You're probably already paying for services that you could do that with. Like, I mean, I think most of the email autoresponders now, like I know Aweber and MailChimp, give you the ability for free with your existing account to create landing pages. Well, there's your new website. Drive specific traffic to a landing page that's geared towards them, and watch them sign up for your stuff. I mean, it doesn't have to be overly complicated, and that's why it kind of drives me crazy when I talk to business owners who are like, well, if we could just afford Facebook ads, I think we'd be fine. And it's like, well, you could go that route, but what about that 2,000 to 3,000 person client list that you've got sitting there that you haven't touched in 2 years? So it's very eye-opening, I think, for most business owners to hear that. I didn't even consider that. So yeah,
it's yes, thank you. And it's nice that you pointed it out, because it really is just pointing this out. What we probably all know, we read these things and go, oh yeah, I know I need to do more with capturing leads on my website. Oh yes, I know I need to do more with my existing email list to grow it, or to have more regular offers and stay more connected and get more people onto the list. But that really is the one thing that's not that hard or even expensive to do, is to have something interesting on your website, just even a download with some tips on something, whatever your industry, your service is, that people like to download to get on your list. And then you can just keep sending them something useful that creates all these touch points that you need until they'll at some point buy something from you. It's not that hard to do, and yet we procrastinate on these things, including me. It's just like, oh yes, I know, I keep reading and keep hearing this from the experts. I need to have some more interesting things on my website. I need to capture people's email address so I can grow the list and have more people to reach out to with my offers. So that's a good reminder. Thank you.
It's awesome. literally giving ourselves as business owners a half an hour to 40 minutes a day to step back and work on the business, not in the business.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're talking about, Bradley. And just a simple little story here with a business owner that I was working with, running a quilt shop. And again, quilting has taken off like crazy during the pandemic. Her sales have almost doubled from that point of view. And again, because of what's going on around the world, she's having challenges getting some of the quilt supplies in, just because of supply chain issues. So she's got a list of about 35 or 40 customers who have ordered things, but they're on back order, haven't sent it out. And we were simply having a conversation. And I said, what are you doing to manage those situations of those 30 to 40? She goes, well, I'm doing nothing. I said, I want you to call every one of those customers and just simply take 5 minutes to say, we haven't forgotten about you. And when your order comes in, we will send it out to you. So she went and did that. 30% of her customers said, oh, well, thank you for the call. By the way, why don't you add this to my order and this to my order and this to my order?
Yeah.
And just by making those literally 5 or 6 minute phone calls with each of those back ordered customers, she ended up increasing her sales.
Wow.
But it's just it's about cultivating the relationship, cultivating the touch points with the customers, giving them the experience and letting them know that you're always there. And then they will think about you. And to your point, Bradley, and first of all, love the presentation, Bradley. Even more excited. I love that you're now a member of our personal development content team on Give to Get. Looking forward to seeing many, many more. I know I know the value you bring to all of your business clients, Bradley. More importantly, I know how much you care about the success of your business clients, and that resonates with me as a fellow business coach too. So just happy to have you here for that.
Thank you.
It really is just, letting them know that you're there. And again, it's that 40 minutes a day of getting out of the business to work on the business, to look at a different perspective.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I think when I say, even to some people, I say, well, you've probably got a list of, a couple hundred people. They say, well, actually, our database has 2,000 to 3,000 people. And it's okay, well, I don't want you to focus on the whole 2,000 to 3,000. I want you to call 3 a day, 3 a day, 5 a day, right? And if you get to 5 and you still have 5 minutes left, call 2 more. But I think if you break it down into smaller chunks, you'll start to see results very, very quickly, because you're not trying to rush through it. This is not a race. This is a marathon, and you're going to have those conversations again to keep them going. I wanted to add one really quick thing too to what Martina said, just as a, here's $1 million tip as well. You were talking about how it's easy to get caught up in I know I should create something for people to download, and I've seen this trap over and over and over again. The $1 million tip is, you don't have to be the creator of what you're giving people to download for free. What you could be doing is, I found this really great article, I've added my comments to it, go ahead and download it. Be a curator. If you aren't comfortable with being a creator, be a curator. And as long as you credit the source, those people that have created that content are more than happy with you sharing it. So I find that if you need content quickly, like if you're, hey, I've got this great idea, I want to tap into a new vertical, but I don't have the time to create a PDF download and all the rest of it, go find a really great something that appeals to that target vertical, and be a curator of it, so that way you can say, hey, I found this thing, I want to share it with you, and I've added my comments to it. And you can go through and comment on it however you'd like, or take an excerpt from it and then add your own notes. It's a lot easier when you take away that overwhelming sense of, I've got to create something brilliant. You don't. You just need to show your authority. You just need to show that I'm interested, I'm passionate about this, I care about your industry, and people are much more likely to respond to you and freely give you their contact information and say, yes, please continue to send me information, which is really what lead capture is all about. So
I couldn't agree more, Bradley, especially if you're reading something that you just heard one of your clients talking about. Yeah. Simply take that, send it off to the client and say, hey, we were just talking about this, it made me think of you. Here's an article to read, or here's something I thought you'd appreciate, or here's something I thought would help your business. And that goes a long way to saying, holy smokes, if you want to watch the news, read the newspaper, or surf the internet, that's why you want to do it, is to pull things down that you can then send to your clients and say, oh, I just read this and I was thinking about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very
That's
true.
a great idea. That's a really great idea. Yes.
Awesome. Well, that's all I have for you today. I appreciate you showing up today, Martina. And Bruce, thank you so much again. It's my pleasure to be here today. If there's no other questions, we can sort of wrap it up at this point. And if you do have questions, you're interested in having your own roadmap, please do reach out, folks. I'd be more than happy to walk you through it.
That's great. Thanks very much, Bradley.
Again, thank you, Martina. Thank you, Bradley.